This video is brought to you by CatBeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's on the Powers. I found an interesting piece of bodybuilding information here. So on eBay, I came across a Sandow statue. So for those of you who don't know, the Sandow is the award given out at the Mr. Olympia competition. It has only been given out since 1977. It's now 2017. So that means there are only 40 Sandow trophies in existence that have been given out to Mr. Olympia winners. Now, there's one currently listed on eBay for $10,000 with $250 for shipping. And I've gotten a lot of messages asking me whose Sandow I think this is. Just asking me various questions about this Sandow. So I went to the listing, and the listing under the thing says there's no more information available. The seller says he's had a bunch of questions about who it's from and who Sandow it was, and he said he has no information regarding that. And it is what it is. So the interesting thing about this is that a couple years back, Aaron Singerman, who actually owns Redcon 1, bought another Sandow trophy that was listed on eBay for the same price, $10,000. And I think with that Sandow trophy, again, no one ever really knew whose Sandow it was. So again, in the history of the Mr. Olympia, there have only been 40 Sandows given out since 1977. Frank Zane obviously won the first. So I would say when we're trying to figure out whose Sandow this is, we would have to look at who has the most Sandows and who has the most reason to sell their Sandows. So if we're talking about who has the most, obviously Ronnie Coleman and Lee Haney both have 8 Sandows. But I think neither one of them have any reason to sell them from a financial standpoint. Ronnie Coleman is obviously very successful with his Ronnie Coleman Signature Series supplement line, and then Lee Haney also owns his own personal training business. So I don't think either of them have any financial incentive to sell their Sandows. Now, obviously, Arnold won 7 Olympias, but he only won 1 Olympia after they started giving out the Sandow. So theoretically, Arnold only has 1 Sandow from that 1980 Mr. Olympia. And then, of course, you have Phil Heath and Dorian Yates, who both won multiple Olympias. But again, I think both of them are pretty successful financially and don't have any financial incentive to sell their Sandow trophies. Then you can go to the guys that won the Olympia only one time, like Samir Bannout and Chris Dickerson. I think both of them would, pretty much treasure their Sandows because they only have one, and that was really their main claim to success, was winning the Olympia one time. So I don't think either of them would sell their Sandow trophies either. So that brings us back to Frank Zane, the first winner of the Sandow. So Frank Zane won the Olympia 3 times in 77, 78, and 79, earning himself a Sandow for each of those victories. So my theory is that the person that sold the first Sandow trophy is the same person that sold the second, meaning they would have more than one. So that points back to Frank Zane. My theory would be that if anyone out of all these Olympias is selling their trophy, I would guess Frank Zane. He has 3. This is the second one that I would guess he is selling so far. And the reason being is that I think Frank Zane made the least money from the sport of bodybuilding out of all the guys that I mentioned prior, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Phil Heath, Dorian Yates. All these guys have really good businesses. They've made a lot of money. But Frank Zane was kind of on the early end of the prize money spectrum and on the sponsorship spectrum. There weren't really great sponsorships back then. The prize money was pretty much nothing. And it was a lot more difficult to make a living out of bodybuilding in the 1970s. And another reason that I would speculate that it would be Frank Zane is I'm actually subscribed to his email newsletter, and he's frequently sending out, different sales that he has on his website, different booklets that he's selling. So I think he's still trying to make money from the industry because he hasn't made enough already. So my guess would be Frank Zane. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who do you think is selling their Sandow trophy? I was actually thinking about buying it because I thought it'd be a cool piece of memorabilia to have in my office. But $10,000 for someone else's trophy, I just can't justify that much money. So I'm excited to see who does buy it and who ends up with it. It's going to be probably someone, probably a big name in the industry. Maybe Aaron Singerman will buy the other one. So I guess we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.